Hi, everyone. This is your host, Kristen Howe, and I am so excited to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Karen Abrams. For over 10 years, Karen has been a practicing Theta Healer. Now, Theta Healing is a unique form of meditation where practitioners enter the Theta state. There, they're able to shift their thoughts away from negative, limiting beliefs to more positive perspectives. It's a process of healing that can free people from long-standing emotional burdens and chronic or unhealthy physical conditions. Karen first came to Theta Healing after watching a friend transform her life with it. Curious, Karen began to study Theta techniques herself, gaining immediate and lasting relief from chronic health issues that had overwhelmed her for years. She also discovered that Theta Healing improved her relationships and helped her achieve greater professional success. A UCLA graduate in psychology, Karen honed the listening and observation skills critical to Theta Healing through her extensive experience in the education field. Karen is now a master Theta Healer, certified instructor, and relationship expert. Her practice is filled with clients and healers from around the world. And on today's call with Karen, you will discover how to release self-defeating habits. You'll discover techniques to connect with that constant source of support that surrounds us every day. You'll find out ways to move forward with joy, and you'll discover how to recognize and receive love and good fortune with clarity. And this is really exciting. We actually will be doing a group Theta Healing session on the call, so be sure to stick around for that. So Karen, I am so excited to have you here. I can't wait. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the call.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy that we finally get to do this. This is very exciting for me.
I know, I'm really psyched, and I would actually love to have you start off by sharing some of your story with everyone listening. And one of the things that we're most interested in is hearing about some of your turnarounds, maybe when things weren't going as well as you'd hoped, and then, you experienced some turnarounds so that you manifested the current level of success you have today.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. You're putting a new twist on an old question. I like that. Well, first of all, I got into Theta Healing because I had been suffering from about 6 years of anxiety that was really permeating my life. I had been in therapy for about a year and a half, and we were really working it well and doing wonderful work. But every day I still had that anxiety. I still woke up shaking every day and shook all day long. And if I ever thought that for a moment I had a relief, and if I noticed that I had relief, then I would immediately, it would knock back in. So it had become just something that my nervous system did, kept me in fight or flight. So when a friend of mine told me about Theta Healing and this wonderful, wonderful healer, Theta Healer named Vienna Steibel, who is the founder of this work, she had been working with Vienna for, a period of time, and all of these things in her life changed. Her relationship changed. She got out of a bad relationship, or I should say an unhealthy relationship. Let me put it to you that way. It wasn't bad. She straightened out her career. She, came from the brink of literally very serious health issues and started making money. And I just looked at that, and I remember saying to myself, she was going to be hosting a class that Vienna was going to be teaching, Vienna Steibel. And so I remember saying, well, do I want to take it? Everything seems to be okay in my life. And I remembered this quote just kind of came floating in my head from a friend of mine who said, most people just are fine being fine, but they never even reach for great. Why don't we reach for feeling great? And it hit me, and I went, oh, I could do that, like all of a sudden. So I ended up taking the class, and it was the 3-day basic Theta Healing class that I teach now too. And I noticed a tremendous amount of space in front of me when I finished the class, and I didn't even know what that meant. All I could tell you is I was like swimming in my apartment. I'm like, what is all this space in front of me? And so all of a sudden it hit me that my body, I didn't have anxiety anymore. And my body was out of fight or flight for the first time in 6 years.
Wow.
And yeah, that blew me away. And that even when I noticed it, it didn't come back. So that was huge in and of itself. So I signed up for practice classes and advanced classes. And anytime, I went to Idaho, where Vienna is, where her institution is. Every time she came out here, I took classes. I had a friend had private practice classes. I did everything I could to study it, and I don't know that I knew exactly what it was or how it was going to impact my life, other than I was going to use it myself. It was a really remarkable coping skill, and I was going to use it for myself. I was going to use it for my friends, but that's all I knew. And needless to say, over 10 years later, here I am talking to you, and talking to people all over the world and helping people all over the world use this modality. And I feel very grateful. My whole life changed in such a huge way, big in the beginning and then subtly and then big and subtle. And, I always say this work is like the lightest way of letting go of the heaviest things in your life. And where you don't have to kind of revisit that you got, hit by the bus. You've just got to let go of that energy and that trauma energy so that you can move on in your life. And that really helped me to let go of a lot of things that I didn't even know I was holding on to, and then a lot of them that I knew I was holding on to. So it's been quite a journey, I have to say. I just thank God every day that I have this work and that I can have this in my big bag of tricks,
I love that. My big bag of tricks. And actually, everyone, just so you know, last week I actually had a session with Karen so that I could be even more informed, and we'll get into that in a little bit, just because I do want to share. It was really remarkable. So, just to give you an idea, this is a pretty cool thing. Can you describe for everybody, just so that they're not, I'm sure a lot of people know what we're talking about, but just in case, can you describe what Theta Healing is? And even just, your particular sort of viewpoint will be helpful. So even if we do know, it'll be helpful to hear it from your voice.
Sure. Well, I think this work, basically it's a simple meditation, okay? On the most basic level, this is all it is. We're doing a meditation process to connect us to Source, to God, to universe, whatever your name is for that energy that's created everything. Some people call that all there is. And once you connect to that energy, you are asking for a healing, either on yourself or someone else. Now, physiologically, what happens when you connect to that energy in that meditation is your brainwaves become theta brainwave dominant. That's hence the name Theta Healing. And our theta brainwave is our super learning brainwave. We know this already. Scientifically, we know this. It is the one that children are in most of the time, which is why they learn so quickly, why they're so open to information. It is the brainwave we go into when we have that stunning realization. Oh my gosh, I did what? Or, oh my gosh, it's that simple, And so this is the aha moments brainwave that just brings all of our knowledge together and synthesizes it, and boom, we're into the groove. And we know from hypnotherapy that it actually connects us to our subconscious. So if we know we're in the subconscious mind, and that we believe that the subconscious mind is in every cell of the body, I'm not sure we'll ever be able to prove it one way or the other, but we know we have a subconscious mind. And we can go in there and then energetically, with this divine energy that we're using, that we're co-creating with, change people's belief systems, but only with their consent. I cannot do anything to anybody or make anybody do anything. So this isn't one of those things where it's beyond your control. It's all about your free will. So I will ask if you like energetic downloads of feelings, like what it feels like to be unconditionally loved and supported, and what it feels like to move forward with joy in your life. You can let go of the toughest things, like regret, like trauma, like hatred and grief and resentment. And the one that always is the kicker for me is forgiveness, because we have never really been given a technique to forgive someone or a definition to help us forgive somebody. And what I found out inside this work and in a theta meditation was that forgiveness was about letting go of the pain that someone has caused you or that you have caused yourself. And when we get to that place, and we have had a very mixed history with someone it's especially like a family member or a longtime friend or something, and we've held on to that forgiveness. We haven't wanted to let it go and give it to them because we didn't want to give them the satisfaction of, knowing it was okay that they hurt us, right? That's usually what our response is. It goes, well, wouldn't you like to let go of the pain that person caused you? And usually the answer is yes. If you just ask that question, I bet most people would say yes. And so it really opens that door for you to let go of that pain. And we definitely can be very judgmental towards ourselves, so that when we've made mistakes, that we can, we go, I can't believe I did that, right? I can't believe I did that. There's serious amounts of fear of failure out there that, and fear of the unknown, is another big one. And those can be dealt with. So you can let go of these fears and these phobias and learn what you were meant to learn, because there was a reason you got that fear. There was a reason you had that belief, or were holding on to the resentment, whatever it is. You did have a good reason. It may not have been logical, but it was a good reason. And so what we're able to do is go in there energetically and help you shift it. Find the bottom belief there, help you shift it, and then the House of Cards falls. And you become just more of your authentic self. And that House of Cards was all your baggage. And I know for myself, I noticed the first time I ever noticed I was becoming more of my baggage and less of myself was in my 20s. Once I was, sort of out of the house and living on my own and trying to figure out who I was, and I always call that the second adolescence. So it's just so amazing to just become more of who you truly are. And what I noticed in myself, and you were talking about, shifts in yourself, that I had become someone who had a very low level of depression that was just sort of my base level, and what I can tell you now is that with all of the work that I've done, that I'm really content. I'm a happy person and I'm content. I always knew I was a happy soul and I had a happy soul, but I felt like I lost her, Somewhere in the shuffle, I lost her along the way. And then what's happened is when you let go of all of that junk, all of a sudden it just naturally comes back to you. And I know that, no matter what's going on in my life, I know that no matter what challenges appear at different points in life, that I will always naturally float back up to the top and be content, because that's where, that's my true north now, And I will always go back there. I will do everything I can to get back there, because that's my natural state. Whereas other people, and definitely that was me 10 years ago, would say, if I could just get to that low level of depression, just that borderline slight depression, I'll be fine. Right. And that's just me being normal. So no, I'm going back. I will always return to that contentment and to that joy.
I love it. Well, for a couple of things that you said that I really want to sort of bring them. I want to highlight them just for everybody listening. The whole forgiveness thing, because I do think that is such a struggle for so many people, because they're scared if they forgive that they're saying it's okay. Exactly what you said. And so when you put it that way, when you say, forgiveness is being willing to let go of that pain, I think that's so powerful, because it really just puts a different angle on it that makes you understand why it's so essential, because that pain keeps us stuck. Am I right?
Absolutely. Don't you think it creates, physical conditions in your body because you really feel it. Some people, it feels like people will tell you that I feel like I have, a spear in my side or a knife in my heart, or, this hit me right in the gut, right?
Yep.
Those are physical feelings that are real, that are occurring on every level in your body. So it's chemically they're happening and physically they're happening. And I always say, one of the other things that I learned in this work was that whatever you don't resolve in your life, your body is going to resolve for you. So given that, why not? Why not just let it go? It's it's just, our health, that is just so important, right? I mean, if you don't, we talk about that a lot, and you hear, I remember being younger and hearing my older relatives talk about it, like, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, right? They're like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to run around for 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
But you realize that when things are going on in your body, your focus is away from everything else except your body.
Mm.
So if you've got a business, or you're working, or you've got a family, or whatever, all of your attention is now on this pain or this condition or this thing that I have to fight through, that I have to struggle through. But if you can let it go, wow. There's a great story, actually, of my teacher, Vienna Steibel. She tells it a lot about a kid who, this young boy had colon cancer, and she felt like he was going to die. That was her hit on it. And so she was doing a session on him and found out that he hated his father. And so she asked him if it was okay, if it was okay to let go of all of that hatred and anger he had towards his father. And he said, yeah. And he had a spontaneous healing. And
wow.
The colon cancer went away. And look, that's an extreme example, and that's why I'm giving it to you. Mm-hmm. There are many examples of all the way from very, very subtle shifts to really big, huge, instant healings like that. And mine is on the spectrum also. And but that's just a really huge example of what emotions, how our body takes it on to try and help you heal the issue and pay attention to what the real issue is. So if you can get in there and release that, and then when we release things in Theta, we also replace it with unconditional love and support. So you're never empty. So do you know those people, and you may have, I always figure there's always one relative in every family that is the one, is like the list keeper.
Yeah.
Oh, he did that to me. 20 years ago, he didn't come. He didn't have a thank you note for that present I gave him, and so he's never coming back. That person. And they have so much, all they do is hold on to that resentment, write the lists out. And look, we've all been guilty of that. I mean, I've had lists before, and if I notice them, I'm like, ooh, get rid of that. Don't want to hold on to that. That's just insurance for misery.
Right.
And, right? Those people who identify with their anger as if that is their life force, when you can help them, when they're ready to be helped, they won't feel empty afterwards, because a lot of those people say, well, if I'm not angry, who am I? And here you can find out who you are. You can find out who you are from God's perspective, and you can be filled with love instead of anger, and see where that takes you,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and, it's interesting that you say that. So the list making, or the keeping score, or even, I know someone who, she is literally addicted to other people being in pain, not because she wants them to be in pain, and I don't just mean physically, I mean in their lives, but because that's the only way she can feel useful. There's things like that, and those are really, really self-defeating habits. Those are self-defeating perceptions on life. But how do we start to make that shift? If anybody listening here is like, ooh, that is me, you just said you'll catch yourself with a list and you're like, ooh, gotta let go of that. I mean, someone on this call might say, well, yes, that's easier said than done. I know that. I've tried to let go. So what's something that they can do?
Well, with this work, when you go into that meditation, you're connecting to that divine energy, which, like we said, we're able to access our subconscious mind. And what it does is help our mind talk to our bodies. Essentially that's what we're doing. We're trying to find that direct line, right? And so through Theta, through this meditation and coming in, we can get that direct line to your subconscious, so that your subconscious can talk to your body, and we can change this. So it's just really important for people to be open to shifting that kind of behavior and seeing what they can do instead, because we get into these habits. And it's important to, one question that's really great, and if you don't have an energy modality at your disposal, is, what's the benefit of my staying angry? What am I getting out of it, right? And usually it's because we really feel like somebody wronged us,
Right.
And or that we want to be on our high horse about it because we want to be the righteous ones. We're the good ones. We got hurt, right? We don't do the hurting, and so there's a different thing. And I really connect to that story that you just told me about your friend or this person that you know, because I had for a very long time, and I think this was, kind of at the beginning of, within a couple of years of my learning Theta, is that I felt like I always wanted to be needed by other people, and that was the only way I felt loved. And I don't know if you can connect to that, but that was a really big deal to me. And so I ended up with a lot of friends who took a lot from me because they needed it, and I gave it to them. But when it was time to turn the tables and I said, hey, I'm really hurting around this stuff, it was sort of like, well, that boy, that must be really hard for you. Let me call you back, and I just needed to be needed, but I didn't know how to receive love. And so I had to learn how to do that and learn how to love myself, really literally energetically, so that need went away. And even though what I do for a living is help people out of whatever's going on with them or help them feel even better than they already do, I don't have that need to be needed anymore. And I don't get that kind of person doesn't necessarily call me because the one who just wants to pull everything out and then get out of there, Right. I get people who are very gracious, who are very grateful, who are very open to healing, who are ready to heal now, Mm-hmm. And we come from that place. But I absolutely understand that needing to be needed thing, and I have to say it feels much better to release that from my body.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things where you're like, no, I see that you're getting your value from that. Mm-hmm. You're valuable already. Like you're breathing, and so you're valuable. Okay, so let me ask you this. And I love this. You said, Kristen, the title for this call is Ready or Not, Here I Come. So I love that. What does that mean? Why did you want to call the call, Ready or Not, Here I Come? I think it's very funny. I think it's very playful. So what do you mean by it?
I was going to joke with you and say, I have no idea. What do you think? Please help me. Caller. Look, if we're talking and whoever else is listening, we're all in the same soul group. We're all going through this together. Mm-hmm. And I believe that there's this huge swell of positive energy that's coming up for everyone that it often can bring up very deep issues right now, because I know a lot of people, I can tell you from my clients and my friends and myself, we're hitting some issues that we're like, no, like it just bottom core solid, like, whoa, that was at the bottom of the basement there. Thank you. Because we're being called to be present and be in the moment now. The only way we are ever able to successfully deal with what's going on in our lives to either bring more success, more joy, or we're in something that is very tough, a very tough transition, and we're trying to get through it without, having our car break down and a double mortgage payment and getting fired from our job and all of those things that kind of spiral the other way. We need to be able to be in the moment. And I remember another healer asked me the other day, he worked on me in this group session, and he said, how do you feel right now? And I said, well, he goes, no, right this moment. All you have is this moment. And I went, joyful. I feel really good. Wow. Thank you. And so I think we are all called now to stand up in our own power, to be in the moment and see what it is that's out there for us and see what we can do to help everybody else. And now there's a lot of people who, I just believe in, and I get I've read a lot about this and I get it a lot, but when you are in service to other people, and not in servitude, but in service, you are creating a better world in every moment. And we really need that, and that's what I believe is going on, is we're getting ready for the people who are ready to hear this, for the people who are in our soul group and beyond who are ready to do this, it's our time. It's absolutely our time right now. And we share it. There's enough room for everybody. And we can all get there. We can all be there. And we can all make this a better place. And we can all make ourselves a better place to live too, you know?
Yeah, I love that. What a great way of looking at that. And I think it's so essential, and what I love about what you're doing, and even in our session the other day, you know, a couple of the things that transpired through the session, I was like, oh, wow. I mean, we were talking about, there was one thing you said where you said, even if she hasn't shown that she loved you unconditionally necessarily here on the physical plane, energetically speaking, and it was like, oh, of course. And so that's, you know, because I think one of the things that people really struggle with is I would say 99.9% of the people who are listening, they are ready for this transformation. Okay. Yeah. So what a lot of them struggle with, and what I'm hearing from a lot is the people around them who they love, who they're not looking to just sort of like abandon their family, and, you know, how they handle the situation when those people aren't necessarily ready, and, you know, how they handle that inclination to go in and try to fix everybody else as well. So what's the balance with that? How do we start to tap into someone energetically, as we were just saying with my session that we did, where you allowed me to see the sort of unconditional love energy of this person? How do we tap into that without getting bogged down by the day-to-day baggage?
Well, first of all, the first thing that comes to me is that you can only change yourself and you can't change anybody else. Now, I say that also knowing that the changes that you make inspire other people to change energetically. Right. By being in the room with somebody who loves themselves, changes you. I was the other day, I was talking to a very close friend of mine, and I was not in a great state. I wasn't feeling good. I didn't get a lot of sleep that night. I woke up like 3 or 4 times. So you know how you feel when you feel like, you know, your kind of fingers in a socket every once in a while. You're like, and so I wasn't really feeling myself very well. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and I've known him, I don't know, 10 years. Probably 10 years, and I have never heard him this grounded. And I just had a conversation with him about his life, not even me, and I calmed down. Wow. And I got grounded. So you just have to remember that when you change yourself, that is the most power you have. It doesn't mean that you can't give people advice. It doesn't mean that you can't help them along the way, because obviously you can. And if they're ready to. But let's say, like you're saying, you know, you've got people in your family who think what you do is mumbo jumbo. What? She's a coach, whatever, happy love, whatever, rainbows and, you know, unicorns, right? And and that's okay, because you don't speak that language around them. You talk to who you're talking to. But if you just come from just being yourself, and you're more comfortable with yourself, they become just energetically much more comfortable with themselves. Whether or not it lasts or not is really up to them, because they have to make those choices. But you can really kind of get to somebody's authentic self by just being yours. And like one of the things that we did with you and that I do with myself and other people is, like we were talking about, what if you've never felt unconditional love from your mother, for instance, right? Maybe you had a judgmental mother. Maybe she was so busy because she had so much stuff to do, or so many things were going on in her life that she didn't know how to do that. So in this work, we can go, okay, well, would you like to know who she is from God's perspective? So you can really understand her instead of her baggage. And then how would you like to know what it feels like to be unconditionally loved by her from her highest potential? And when that command kind of came out of my mouth one day, I was like, oh, that's so interesting that we all have this potential from the get-go. And we may not use it in this lifetime. Maybe this lifetime we've decided we're going to be couch potatoes, you know? And that's what we want to do. Maybe the life before we had dynasties and we, conquered nations. In this lifetime, you know what? We're going to take it easy. I got cable TV. I got everything I need, But, you got to honor and allow people just to be who they are. And then you just come in there and just be yourself and see what happens with that and be able to accept it. I've come to believe that our lifetime relationships with people are about acceptance. And, if you've got somebody who is never going to understand what you do, they're never going to appreciate what you do, they just can't acknowledge who you are truly, which, are very big, long-standing issues that people have, then you just have to be fine with yourself and accept that this is where their limitations are, and this is the way they've chosen to express themselves. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's all about them. And once you can get to that place where you're not taking their behavior personally, because, if they think that way about you and they're not acknowledging you, they can't be acknowledging themselves. They can be narcissistic.
Right.
They could be selfish. But if they're talking that way to you, they're talking that way to themselves, even at a much more severe clip than they are with you. So it's just knowing that that's going on and just being able just to accept somebody. It doesn't mean you've got to, open up your boundaries to them, allow them to hurt you. They don't. If you have an abusive parent or abusive family and they don't want to change, you can do all the forgiveness work by yourself, right? Yeah. And if you can't see them again or you can't be connected to them, you can still forgive them and accept them for who they are, but know that that's not a possibility for you. Or, you can do whatever level of connection is best for you. You don't have to be somebody's best friend. That's not the point. The point is just to accept who they are and love yourself, and then you can get through anything.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up, you can't, because I think sometimes people hear, accept other people and accept who they are, and they panic that means then you get rid of all boundaries. And that's, right. In fact, even in our session, that's exactly what you really came to light. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. So I can accept them, even love their sort of infinite potential and what they truly are. I can love myself and I can still have boundaries. And then that's exciting, because it's not like, oh, but if I love them and accept them, I cut my left arm off. It's not that at all. So, that was a very cool thing that came up with us. I don't know if this is this a good time for us to kind of go into, because I think I can kind of feel everybody's like, ooh, I'm ready. I want to do this. What is this? This is so cool. Right. So is that something that we can do now on a sort of group level here? Right. Now, what helps? Do I sort of set the intention for the group since I'm here speaking as the group, or?
Well, first go run to the kitchen and boil some water. We're going to need a lot of water and towels, hot towels. So, first we're going to, you can be the person who says yes. So the way we'll conduct this is like a theta session where I'll say, is it okay if I come into your space? And you'll say yes. At home, you don't need to say yes out loud. You can say it in your head. And all that does is give permission for this energy to come in and help access your subconscious and change these things. Okay?
Fantastic.
So, and then from there, I'll ask you, is it okay if you get God's perspective on this or that, or how to do this, or what it feels like to do this, or a very common and fun one, let's take you back to whatever lifetime and level this happened, or that you believed this, and can we change that? So I will start with that stuff and give like a basic healing so that everyone can receive and keep any healing that they have from anybody. And these are such important ones that, in these 10 plus years that I've been doing this, I take them all the time. Every time I give them to somebody else, or have God download them to them, that I take them every time. So they're always good. So is it okay if I come into your space and the space of everyone who would like this divine energy?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm doing the meditation. I'll give you a blow-by-blow report. Here we go. There we go, coming up, and then coming into your space. Now, some people are going to feel this and feel like an opening in their crown chakra in their head. Some people won't feel anything at all. It just depends. But it is being witnessed by me. And even though I'm called the healer, I'm really the witness. And it's a pretty remarkable place to be able to sit, I have to tell you. Okay, here we go. So coming right in. All right. So first, is it okay if you get God, and I'm going to use the word God, but once again, if you want universe or source or any other name for you, please put it in there for yourself so it makes sense to you. Would you like the universe's definition of unconditional love?
Yes.
Okay. And would you like to know what that feels like?
Yes.
Okay, great. This may be Kristen's second time getting all of these. There we go. And let's have God take us back to whatever lifetime and level you began to believe that you were unworthy of receiving God's definition of unconditional love. And is it okay if God changes that belief back there?
Yes.
Okay. So let's have God change that, wherever that was, whenever it happened, and then let you know what it feels like to consistently be worthy of receiving God's unconditional love. And then have God show you how to and what it feels like to receive God's unconditional love, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This stuff is really important. And one that just popped up a few months ago that I thought was so cool, to have God take you back to whatever lifetime and level you began to believe that you were unworthy of God.
Mm.
And have God go change that back there. There we go. And then show you what it feels like to be consistently worthy of this. To be worthy of God. Know what that feels like. How to and what it feels like. There you go. That's a huge one. And especially because there's a lot of prayer language out there that says, you know, God, even though we are unworthy of you, you love us anyways. Have you heard some of that before?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, this is the all-loving, completely pure, unconditionally loving God that we're talking about. There we go. And then let's have God go back to whatever lifetime and level you began to believe you were unworthy of God's definition of joy. Okay? And let's have God change that. There you go. And then show you what it feels like, what God's definition of joy feels like, and what it feels like to be completely worthy of receiving God's joy. And how to and what that feels like to have that. There we go. Beautiful. And then let's let you know what it feels like to be completely healthy from God's definition. Remind your cells and bring that into every cell of your body. Feel like that's a white light that just goes on in every cell. There we go. Good. Okay. And now let's let you go back to whatever lifetime and level you began to believe that you were unworthy of loving yourself unconditionally from the inside out, and have God change that there. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. And let's show you what it feels like to be completely worthy of receiving your unconditional love. And we'll show you how to and what it feels like to love yourself unconditionally from the inside out. One of my favorite. I really believe that these are the places that we grow from. These are the places that worthiness in and of itself is one of the keys to getting what it is that you want out of your life. And if you're not, it's a place to look at. Okay? And then let's do this around looking at some of the things that we're talking about around moving forward. So let's have God give you that definition, let you know how to and what it feels like to move forward, to bring more joy into your life. And when you think of it that way, it's much easier to say yes, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep. So there we go. There we go. And let you know what that feels like. And let you really deeply understand from wherever it was that you forgot that you are consciously and unconsciously co-creating with this energy of God all the time, through your beliefs, through the way you walk in the world, your actions, everything. And then one of the other things that's really important is whenever that was, you began to believe that you were separated from God. And this is something that people have all the time. And that really messes with their ability to manifest also, right? So let's have God go back to whatever lifetime and level that occurred and change that. And show you what it feels like to know you are always connected to God. And to be open to, on every cell of your body, to connect with that source of support. It's always there. It is always there for us. And this thing about having self-defeating habits is around not feeling worthy, right? And that is a big deal. And so let's go back to, if you feel like you have some self-defeating habits, and you may just have them in little tiny places right now, or you may have them in big glaring places right now. But wherever they are, just allow your mind to float to that. And let's just have God let what you were meant to learn from holding on to those habits. What was it that your subconscious was holding on to in hopes that you would learn this? Okay? And let's show you how to stand up for yourself from God's perspective and what that feels like, from wherever it was that you forgot how to do that. And wherever it was that you gave up your power to other people, to God, to any energy other than yourself. And let's have God change that and give you God's definition of your power and show you how it's possible, that it's possible to stand in your power, how to and what it feels like to stand in that and still be safe and stay in your power without being punished for it, without being attacked. And let's just have God release any trauma you've ever experienced, any punishment you've ever experienced, the energy of that. From speaking your mind, from speaking your truth, from standing in your power, from being yourself. And just release that to God's light. And you'll only let go of whatever you feel comfortable with, which might be everything. Might be all of it. And it's going to be replaced with God's definition of support, God's definition of self-support, okay? And that knowledge of who you truly are from God's perspective. There we go. Nice. You feel that change? Yeah, very cool. And so now let's have God shift and change that habit to self-support. So we can show you what to do instead. And self-support is bringing in the right people at the right time. It's the way you speak to yourself and react to whatever happens. Right? And let's also go back to whatever lifetime and level you began to fear failure. And have God go back there and give you God's definition of failure, which is just a mistake. Okay? And show you how you can learn from your mistakes without taking them personally. And know what that feels like. That most really uber successful people out there, and even the mediumly successful people out there, and everybody in between makes a lot of mistakes, right? But the really successful people don't take it personally. They just go, oh, okay, well, we lost our shirt on that one. So what did we do? Let's go back and look at the steps and change these things so next time we can get it going in the right direction, right?
Yep.
And that's what we're here to do now. Because I have a feeling, as psychic as I am, and I am extraordinarily psychic right at this moment, I will say that everyone on this call will make a mistake at some point in time. I will bet $1. And I'm going to back that up with another $1. There you go. Okay? So the next time you make a mistake, you can just go, that was interesting. Ouch. And let's figure it out. You know? There we go. And let's let you understand who you truly are with all of these changes. And also be able to recognize all the good fortune that is coming towards you from God's perspective. Be able to recognize God's definition of love that's coming to you, God's definition of good fortune. So you can really see where it is in your life, where it's coming in, and start to just notice what's easier and better in your life after this. There we go. And then when you still have attention on the things that you know you really, really desire to make changes with, you can come to that with love and understanding. Like, I tend to shoot myself in the foot. What can I do about this? Or where can I get some help for this? And just kind of come from that angle instead of just going, oh my gosh, I always do this, right?
Yeah.
It's always a good one. I did it again. Na, 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 na. It's like that song we sing. Not too many notes. But just we get out of it, We don't have to have that mantra. And then just understanding who we truly are from God's perspective. With all of this changed, with all of this intact, knowing who we are. There we go. Voila.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Here's the things that I love about this. Throughout will experience these moments where I'm like, oh, and it's almost like I try to put words to what's happening and I can't. It's just a feeling,
right.
But it's like this expansive feeling, and like it's like a physical aha, if that makes any sense, or an energetic aha that you can't put words to. And I do love the aspect of it that allows you to not take it all personally in that way.
Right.
There's like a lifted vision of it that allows you to remove the personal aspect that is hurting you and holding you back.
Mhm.
And I love your sense of humor with it all, because but truly that lightens it as well. I just think that's fantastic. And when we went through our session, that was something that I really came away from it with was, oh yeah, okay, right. It is funny. It's fun. This is life. And so I love it. Now, do me a favor, tell me, and you've shared several things, and I've even had, so after our session, everyone, I just want to fill you in, because typically I'll ask Karen, and I still will, what are some of the things that people experience when they're working with you? Well, the cool part is I get to share with you some of the experience. So I had several different relationships where there were just some old negative energies, and they really kind of cycled. And I since then have had experiences with every single one of those people where it wasn't just that I noticed the difference, because then I might even be able to go, oh, well, of course I noticed it because I had the session with Karen, so I knew, right, I could play devil's advocate in that way. Other people who didn't know what I had experienced in my session came up to me and said, one in particular was an interaction with my mother, and literally came up to me and said, that was a totally different interaction. What was going on there? Like, it was so much right? How cool is that? I was like, what? So, just so you know, because I wanted to be able to share my personal experience, and it was a totally different experience. It was lighter. I was able to appreciate and approach it completely differently, still with boundaries, still I was safe, but that was the difference. I felt completely safe throughout, so I didn't feel like I was constantly protecting and had anything at stake. And I think that's huge, but the fact that other people who had no clue came up to me and were like, what was that? That was different. Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's really cool. So do you have any other stories or types of stories that you can share with us as well, just so we get an idea?
Yeah, I had my favorite one right now just happened a little while ago. There was a woman that I worked with who I just adore this woman. She's just such a cool person. And she had been looking for her soulmate. The way I talked about it is your most, and the way Diana talks about it, your most compatible romantic soulmate. Because there's so many people who are soulmates, you want to get them on ones you can live with. So anyways, we did a session on that, and we did this really cool little thing that came to me through the session, which was bring his energy in and bring this energy of this person. And I said, I don't know if it's someone you don't know. It might be someone who's a friend, and just, you've never looked at him this way. It might be, it's hard to tell, but it kind of might be that. It might be someone new, but it's going to change, and we just stayed in this energy of this love between these two people. And I left, we both were like floating when we came out of the session. And it made my day. I mean, it was just so incredible. So a little while ago, she texted me and she said, I met him. And it was exactly what you said. It happened the way that you talked about. And I'm so happy. And I just wanted to let you know. And I still have the text. I want to bronze it. I don't even know what to do with it. Like I want to etch it in stone and like hang it in my office. It just was such a cool moment, and it was an old friend,
Wow,
that's really never cool. Thought of that way. And the divine timing just had to come together. It had to be perfect for both of them, and it was perfect for her for a while, but it wasn't for him yet. And then once that happened, they're together now, and it's like amazing. And so that one is one of my favorites right now. I have an old one that I love, a really wonderful woman also who was a hedge fund investor, and she had spiraled in about 3 months, and she had been on a really major losing streak. And unfortunately, the way the company was run was then your name was put up in red. This lovely system, right? And anyways, it was just humiliating, and it was making things worse for her. So she knew it was energy because she had always been successful, and this wasn't, part of her thing. So we worked on it for a while, and when we finally got to what the bottom of the issue was, we went, oh, it's that, and shifted it, and I definitely had a lot of sessions with her, and then she went away, and she was back in 3 weeks. And I said, well, how's it going? Have things shifted? She goes, in the last 3 weeks, I made $14 million back. And she was dealing in lots of money. It wasn't like, oh, I put $50 on this thing and it went up to $40 million. She was dealing with a lot of money, but and that was bigger than anybody else had made. That was a head turner. And so it was really an incredible moment. And then the other thing that happened with her that was really cool also was she really figured out through these sessions she didn't want to do that work anymore. She wanted to be at home. She wanted to have a business at home that was successful so that she could be there for her kids. And so she goes, you know what? I said, you're going to know she's like, when should I quit? Should I quit now? Should I quit in a month, in 2 months, whatever? Said, it's going to hit you one day and you're just going to do it. And it happened that way. And one day she just walked in the office and went, today's the day. She packed up all of her stuff. She walked into her boss's office and said, I can't do this anymore, and walked out. And the next week, I am not kidding you, she left on like a Thursday or a Friday. Monday that week, there was a major stock market adjustment. Her colleagues some of them lost 20% out of their portfolios. And they all called her and said, oh my God, I wish I had left last week. Like, you just missed,
Wow.
Yeah. And so she missed that. And so it's things like that, money and love are good things. But those are the kinds of things that can happen that are pretty remarkable. But I always say, even if you shift just a little bit, I always liken it to, like having a cannon. If you move the cannon 1 degree to the west, it hits a whole new village 300 miles away. Yep. So it's the same thing. Even if you're making subtle changes, it's going to move your path just enough to one direction where you're going to turn out and end up somewhere completely different.
I love that. And I love that, it's sort of, if you're dealing with one area, it's going to end up ultimately affecting everything because we're talking about, you as a being. So I love that. And you put together a special offer for everybody listening because obviously I could literally sit here and talk to you for 4 days. And I have 4 days cleared
right now. So if you want to do that marathon, I just need a little more food.
No, we're going to do food. No. So yeah, I mean, there's so much more, but I love what you're doing because it's not just empowering in the sense of you're awesome and you can do it. It's truly like soul empowering. Like you feel it within your soul. And I love that. So what I want to do, everyone, I'm going to have Karen talk you through her special offer, which this is really, really cool. So definitely go check this out. There's a special offer button on this page. You can just click that and it'll take you right there. So Karen, let us know what we're in for. This is so cool.
This is called Manifesting Through Transition, How to Create Positive Change During Life's Defining Moments. So basically what this is I turned it into a 30-day program about when we are in challenging transitions in our life, okay? We all know what they are. They could be death, they could be divorce, they could be whatever. You're moving to a new place, something that's challenging to you, that you're in a transition. There's a lot of programs out there that talk about manifesting things, but somehow I've found this little crack. I've never seen anything about getting it done when your plate is already full for other reasons, okay? So a lot of times what happens when it starts hitting the fan is that other things in our life turn that same direction. And then things get really bad and they start hitting this rock bottom kind of thing. And it's hard because we're already dealing with event A, and now we have B and C, right? And so what I wanted to do was just create something that could help support somebody and move them through their issues, whatever is going on with them, whatever that transition is, and then help them manifest. So the way it goes is that this is all these different recordings, all these different MP3 recordings. So there's an hour-long Theta session that directly addresses the issues that come up around whatever this challenging transition is for you. And then once you do that, for 30 days, this is about 10 minutes or less before you go to sleep, there is a short Theta meditation. And they're filled with energetic downloads that are going to work for you during your sleep and gently move you through your transition and guide your manifesting energy in the right direction, okay? So what I learned in all of my reading and whatnot and talking to people who I admire and reading their stuff is that whatever you're thinking and feeling before you go to bed is what you steep in all night, right? And so if you feel angry and you feel lost or you feel stressed out, you're going to have a lousy sleep and you're going to wake up in a lousy mood most likely. But if you go to bed, and what these evening meditations do is release tension. They let you know what it feels like to be safe and secure. I'll give you some of the sections that I broke it down into sections and then days. Like what just happened, like understanding what happened to you, allow yourself a space to be, grieving this transition. What are the life lessons and self-love and self-support, knowing the unknown, okay? This is like the first week, okay? The second section would be feeling safe and secure. The third one is releasing resentment. The fourth one, becoming a co-creator. And then the last one is gaining clarity and focus. So you see, it kind of moves you through what's going on to get you to the point where you're getting these really beautiful downloads around how to manifest, which starts with like being loved and supported and enveloped by God and embraced by God, and also has those, and then how to manifest and bringing in those feelings so that you're getting all this work done all night long that only took 10 minutes, to put in there. And what I've heard back from people, is that it's really helped them move through it. And I understand that even though, look, this is a 30-day program, and I'm saying day 1 you do this, day 2 you do this, day 3 you do this, right? You may have a different pace. You may be at a different time. You can either, if you feel like you can't do it, you can stop it and start it. But mostly it's just really good work. So that regardless of where you believe you are in the moment about your transition, if you go through the program, you'll get what you need from it, okay? I can have a devious, diabolical plan that I want you completely healed and manifesting, your mansion by the end of it. You will do what is right for you, and you will get what is right for you. And also, it's nice to have this for yourself because there's probably going to be more than one challenging transition in your life that you're going to go through. So for you to just have that for you, because at another time, it's going to help you. And it's going to help you in a different way because you're in a different place. And that's what I love about this work is that whenever you go to it, wherever you're at, it feels, you're going to get something different from it and you're going to get more from it. And so I really love this. I'm really proud of this, of these MP3s. And I think, I wanted people to get as much as they can and without necessarily making a huge time investment, So I wanted them to get more for less, actually, if I could put it that way.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. When people start, when they first start using it, what are some of the things that we could expect? We even felt shifts on the call today, but what are some of the things that they could expect to start experiencing, pretty quickly once they start working with what you have here?
I think a sense of relief. That help is there, that support is there. There's a lot of stuff just, getting you out of the shock of whatever occurred, because sometimes we're in that place where we've been traumatized by something and we're walking around in a fog, So I think it's lifting the fog, allowing you to know that it's okay where you're at. You're here for a reason, and let's help heal so that you can move on with your life and bring more joy into your life. So I think you're gonna release a lot of stuff. You're gonna release the trauma. You're gonna release the shock. You're gonna release the resentment and the anger and all of that negativity that you have around it. You're gonna release whatever feels comfortable for you to release so that you can start moving forward. So I really feel like that is the gift of this.
That is a huge gift. Okay, now next question is this, because I think this is pretty important. Is this only appropriate for people who have literally just experienced something? Or let's say you experienced a huge life change that happened 10 years ago, but you are still stuck in it and struggling with it. Does this apply to that as well?
Absolutely, because if you haven't let go, whenever you have something like that, it just sits and waits for you to work on it. So it'll be there. He'll probably be happy that you brought this along.
Right. Okay, cool. So really, if there's anything that we're like, ooh, I'm still kind of attached to that thing that went on, or that's awesome. What a unique tool that it is a gift to be able to experience relief from something, whether it is something that's happening right now or very recently, or something that we just never seem to have completely freed ourselves. That's really cool. Again, really simple. Just go ahead and click on the special offer button that's on this page and bam, we take you right there. So this was so cool. I loved this call. I love your energy. I love your sense of humor. I just think you're really fun and light and awesome, because the group listening here, and by the way, everyone, you're just absolutely extraordinary. They're really savvy and they love this stuff and they are ready. I mean, this is the epitome of a group of people who are ready, but they also want to know that this stuff actually applies to real life and it's not just sort of, go float off in the clouds somewhere. So thank you for that, because you really did authentically deliver that today, and I really appreciate that about you.
Oh, thank you. It's quite an honor to be here. It really is.
Oh, it's awesome having you here. Okay, so here's my last thing, and this is what we need to know. What do you need us to know before we leave you today?
That your power has always been there. It has always been there, and it's just been waiting for you to let it wake up and wake up inside of you. And it's really in your authenticity, and when you say okay, it just stands up. It's your inner lion has been sleeping for a long time and it just wants to stand up and help you out here and move you forward. And it's our time. It's your time. It's my time. It's all of our time right now to really, really embrace good fortune and embrace making that happen for others also. And we can do that. We don't all have to hang our shingles as a coach or a healer or a therapist or a doctor to do this. You heal people by just being yourself in every situation that you come to. And as you become more authentically yourself, those are the kinds of people that you attract, because the other ones don't want anything to do with you. And those other ones might be just clogging up your life for no good reason and distracting you from who you truly are. And so now is that time. Now is that time to be in the moment and take it back. Take it back, because you're gonna thank yourself profusely after that for the rest of your life, you know?
I love that. Yeah. So everyone, you're a great, amazing, extraordinary group of people. I love being able to be here with you. And exactly what Karen said is true. Your power has always been there. And so, yes, it's time to take it back. And I'm excited for each and every one of you. And Karen, I just need to say thank you one more time. I can't wait till we get to do this again. It's just been so much fun.
Anytime. You're a lot of fun, and I would love to play with you any other time.
Awesome. And until the next time, everyone, keep manifesting. Bye-bye, y'all.